Hey, it's Jeff Chalmers here from Discover Double Bass. We're going to get straight into this interview with a performance from the great Robert Lucaciu. Wow, what a pleasure. What an absolute pleasure to hear you play, Robert. Just thank you so much for coming in and joining us here today. So for those of you who have not met this incredible artist. It's Robert Lucaciu. Have I got this?
Yeah, Lucaciu.
Lucaciu.
Like Pikachu, you know.
Lucaciu. That was incredible. Yeah,
Thank you so
really, really beautiful. Let's just sort of get straight in there. I mean, this isn't even your instrument. This is my bass, and you played it for about 20 minutes or something beforehand, if that. I mean, when you started, how did you build up? What were you thinking? You just.
I mean, when I'm freely improvising, I'm just trying to get something out of the room.
Yeah.
And also something out of myself, of course. And me and also the word sometimes or in this very moment is a bit on a funny state of mind.
Yeah.
So I tried to, then I went to a composition that I was composing when I was 17 or something. It's called Agon, like agony. Somehow I went into that. So that's how I started, and then I was going into another composition of mine that is based on a figure from a very nice novel that I was reading when I was a teenager.
Wow.
From Michael Ende. It's a dragon that is a dragon of luck or something like that, like a figure that rescues you.
A dragon is a cool thing. And
yes, and I'm also born in the year of the dragon, so maybe it's.
Wow, do you have any dragon tattoos going on?
Oh no, not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe here.
Well, it was a really wonderful thing because we've just been chatting while we've been setting up the gear and the cameras and things, and you really kind of, you brought a real atmosphere into the room, and I just loved it, checking it out and hearing you play. For those who haven't met you yet, who don't know your music, could you tell us a little bit about where you're from and the kind of work that you're doing at the moment? What you're typically playing?
Yeah, I'm living in Germany, in Leipzig, Berlin, somewhere in between.
Yeah.
In the train most of the time, and I play in a diverse setting of music. Most of the time, it's like based on contemporary improvised music, jazz. But also sometimes like into the approach of classical music, contemporary classical music. I'm not like fully trained.
We heard some Bach this morning. It was sounding beautiful. Yeah, when you were warming
I'm practicing. I'm coming from the cello. I started playing cello at the age of 6, and then I think I had lessons till the age of 19, and I was also in those youth orchestras.
You played cello?
Yeah. I still play cello. I still have a cello.
Really?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I sometimes play in settings of free improv music. I play cello sometimes as well.
So what set the fire for the double bass? Was there somebody who came into your life or that you heard or an experience that you had that made you think, time to say goodbye to the cello?
I had a hard time practicing when I was like 13, 14.
Okay.
And then my parents, who were both violinists, were like, oh yeah, maybe you just start another instrument.
Wow.
Which was a major clue. And then I was playing electric bass guitar at first, and was attending some bands, especially like this church bands, which I grew up with.
Yeah.
And later, I had the opportunity to be part of the youth jazz orchestra in Saxony, in the region where I was born. And in the first or second rehearsal, something I don't remember, Henrike, she was the bass player there with the double bass. She gave me just the bass and was like, hey, just try it out. And I was playing, it was a blues or something, I don't remember, probably F blues or G blues.
Yeah.
And I was so hooked. I was so hooked, yeah. And when I came back home 1 week later, I was like, Mommy, Daddy, I really need a double bass. And because we had some connections, I had a double bass 3 days later, I think. And since then, I'm just, yeah.
So you obviously have done classical training and you've played a lot. And that's the thing I've really got from listening to your music. This last week particularly, I've been kind of taking a deep dive to get ready for meeting you. And there's so much depth there. There's so much more. It's not just one flavour all the time, you know, and I find that in experimental music or more contemporary music, I sometimes find it harder to listen to when I'm much more of a kind of traditional sort of, you know, kind of guy in some ways. But you really, the contrast and the melodicism that you have and you're absolutely virtuosic the way that you play as well, it's beautiful. you know, I really love hearing that about you. So you must have done some time working out playing jazz and classical music as well. Who were the players and the teachers that were getting you inspired, and how did you put that all together?
Yeah, I mean, I love all those musics,
Yeah.
you know, and I think this is the first thing that it has to come to really have the endurance to dig into something.
Yeah.
Just the love, not only the love to listen, but also the love to play it. Because practicing sometimes gets hard.
Yeah.
And if you have a love for something, it's much more easy. And also if you have the love for the process and very small steps, which I really learned not only from music, but also from other things that I'm doing. I'm big into climbing and stuff, so yeah. So things where you really progress, at a specific point you progress very, very slow. And I love this progression so much. So I was starting to have lessons with a teacher in Plauen, the city where I was born. A great cello teacher. He was musically, he was very influential on me. He had a bright vision of how to make music, how to create music, how to construct interpretations. That was really cool. And bass teacher who was more sober, but that really helped me also, because I'm a springy, jolly person, you know.
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
it's like you have to play the C minor, which is great, and you have to have the positions. Yeah, was a good
That
reciprocal
foundation that you needed.
Yeah. And then at the age of 16, I attended to be in this young student thingy at the conservatory in Leipzig, where I also studied afterwards, and I was having lessons with Thomas Starr. He is a great bass player and playing in the Gewandhaus Orchestra. And later then with Professor Peter Berns, or Pippe Berns, is an amazing bass player from Germany.
Wow.
Unfortunately, he's not playing so much, but if you ever have the chance to listen to him, his playing is impeccable. His melodic sense, great. Yeah.
Were there many of the kind of, what about the sort of the great American artists? Were there people that were really kind of setting you on the path at that time? Who you were listening to? I'm actually thinking about Charlie Haydn, because although you didn't particularly sound anything like Charlie Haydn just now, but in some of your recordings I can kind of feel that spirit, and particularly like the rich tones that you're getting out of bass. Your pizzicato playing, you know, I'm really leaning into there. But did you listen to much of his music?
Of course, and also my professor studied with Charlie in the States.
Wow!
And of course, this is a big legacy. But I'm also a big fan of Wilbur Ware, Larry. Of course, Larry was a big influence for a long time, especially when it comes to jazz music.
Yeah.
And to the more contemporary approach, I was having lessons with Mark Dresser, which is, I mean, you know, but he's also so scientific about the bass, which I really dig.
He's a really intense person. I've only met him very, very briefly, but I really want to feature Mark on Discover Double Bass at some point.
You should.
Come on, Mark.
He's great.
People who are in the more experimental contemporary scene always, it doesn't take long before Mark's name comes up. I mean, what is it about his playing that you get excited about? What is it particularly about Mark that you think, is it more to do with the kind of experimental side?
For some time, yes. I was studying the extended techniques, and
that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah,
he's the man to go to, especially if it comes from the improvisation and the jazz field. Then you're immediately going to Mark Dresser. But later on, I figured that it's also the flexibility in his sound, and also he just takes smart decisions.
Interesting, yeah.
Which is intriguing. I'm still a big fan of everything he does.
And he's a real prolific performer and educator as well. He's out there. I was thinking of him as being more like the contemporary music world's John Clayton. You know, somebody like that kind of statesman sort of. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know.
Yeah, he was doing the work also to connect with people and together, and to create something. He did this DVD with all the stuff, you know. Of course, Baccajon, the piece, I played that, of course, and with all the techniques and stuff. So I love. Yeah, he's putting a big impact in the scene.
Are there any other, maybe you can think of somebody else in terms of like, so for someone like me that hasn't listened to as much contemporary music, is there anyone else that I should be listening to? I mentioned, we chatted about Florentine Gerold earlier, and I was saying about how he's playing at the same festival that you played at, or you're playing at the same festival, sorry, that he played at when he was last here. Is there another player that you can think of that you just want to say, oh, actually, maybe you should check out this person?
Pascal Niggenkemper.
Okay, right, okay.
Pascal Niggenkemper is an amazing bass player. I think now he's located in Strasbourg, if I'm not wrong. He's also developing sounds, extended techniques. He's using toys to play the bass, and he's amazing. Really.
Well, we'll be sure to find some music and put that links below and share that. I mean, how about in terms of when you're approaching the bass, and we mentioned extended techniques, so the particular, is that something that you've looked at a lot, kind of getting more out of the bass and percussion maybe, or I don't know, like alternative uses of the bow? Is this something that you kind of spent time with? Totally.
I'm working very sound-based and also very... all the sounds have to have an emotion in it, and I want to be flexible with it, because music is not only one emotion with one tone. You have 4 or 5 or 3,000 different emotions you could transport, and I really try to be very precise with my posture when I'm playing, with the techniques I'm using, and with the sound that is coming out of that, because it's not only what you hear, it's also what you see, what you sense when you're in the room for live music, and everything has an impact on the audience.
Yeah, and the clarity of idea, like the story that you built up in the piece that you played at the start, it was really compelling, and all the way I'm sure that everybody else here as well was kind of following along and captivated by it. What about in terms of today you've joined us and you're borrowing my bass, and we're going to, you're using it for a concert tonight, which is really cool for me. So I get,
thank you so much.
Hey, it's great. I get to hear it played. It's beautiful by someone that I love your playing, and I'm excited to see where you go with it. How do you find getting, like, what do you typically do? Do you borrow instruments? Do you rent them when you're touring all over the place at the moment, all the way through Europe, and what does that usually look like? Or do you just borrow a bass and however it comes out?
It's depending a little bit on the project. Most of the time I really try to bring my bass, and most of the time also going very long train rides and blah blah blah. Because I have a special setup normally. I play a 5-string instrument with a lower B string, the Genssler strings. Blah, blah,
use the Genssler strings.
Yes, of course. Yeah, Gerold is also a friend. So but not all of the time it's possible. And then I reach out for people that I trust to have a good instrument. Especially when it's coming to like this duo concept right now, where everything is so precious.
Intimate.
Intimate and precious, and you really I have to be able to form the note. And if it's just a stick, I have to have something that is coming back from the instrument, to be inspired to play an instrument, and I really can feel that this place has been played by wonderful players like you and the other people that are also here with us.
On the Wall of Fame.
I mean, always, this is a structure that has some memory. I mean, it's probably esoteric, but I don't give...
and the way that you're going to play tonight will be different if you're using this bass, or if you're using another bass, or if I'd have had gut strings on here, or... Of course,
but this is also the fun with it, and this is the fun also in this project I'm playing tonight, the flexibility. We have like a catalog of ideas of compositions, but we never know what we're going to play or in which direction we're going to go.
So this is your duo tonight with Evi Filippou?
Yes.
And just talk us through, you're saying that you don't actually, do you prepare a set list or anything?
I prepared some kind of set list, but I'm very sure that we will not follow it. But it's good to have something to rely on, or also to decide that we're not going to go in this direction.
Who leads? Who kind of makes the call, or is it just what?
It's a very collective, and I mean, she's my biggest and greatest and loveliest friend. So it's really, we have such luck to have been meet.
You know, you've done so much work with her. I was checking out you playing with the NDR big band, which was an incredible thing. I was thinking,
and we played with 2 basses with Ingmar.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
so great.
Yeah, well, we'll provide a link to that below because I found that, and then there's so much music that you've played together. And I found an interview where she describes you as her safe space, and I was like, wow, what an absolute joy playing with somebody that you feel that intimate connection and that trust, which I think is so important for a concert like you're going to be playing this evening. So you've got a couple of great new records that are on the horizon. So one is with Evi, and then the other one is the Fallen Crooner project. Is that the name of the album or the ensemble?
Good question. I had to answer this for the label as well. The ensemble is called Fallen Crooner, and also the record is called Fallen Crooner, just to be clear and easy and simple. It's a great pleasure for me to play with those musicians. It's a sextet, 3 horn players, singer, drummer, and me. So
the crooner, this jazz singer kind of thing. Like, how does it sound in terms of like what the music that you're presenting? Because it's not, come fly with me. It's
not, but it's also kind of it is in a way, because I love constructing, but also I love deconstructing things. The main idea of that project is to deconstruct a little bit of this image of the crooner, because all the toxic masculinity that is lying underneath that, especially when you go back into the 50s and 60s, I mean, it's tough, and I try to have a musical thoughts about this
and taking it apart
with the project.
Oh, it's a wonderful thing. Well, I've been really geeking out on that album as well, which I think is due out in March, is it?
February. Friday the 13th. I think it's a very good
Is that date. Really? Is that what it is?
It is.
Wow. Yeah. That's cool. We'll definitely be, sharing all of that. And in terms of your work, you're also a professor of jazz bass. Is it Nuremberg? And how's your experience been teaching the students? And how are you finding it? How are you finding that? Has that had an effect on you as a player as well?
That's a very good question. I think it has a big impact on me as a player. And I started teaching when I was like 22 or something. I started teaching cello first for little kids. And then later on I started teaching jazz, ensemble, improvisation, and also bass for teenagers that want to go to the conservatory. And since 2018 I was teaching in Hanover first at the conservatory, and now it's my 2nd year in Nuremberg. And it has a big impact also, like talking about, I'm a very talkative person, you may guess. Talking about music and words really create a reality for myself as well. And if I'm explaining not the truth, but things how I approach it, I manifest it in a way that is really, it's given me a lot of security in my musical choices. This I really love. And I mean, if you sometimes have the luck to have a lesson and you see the sparkling in their eyes, wow,
the energy.
I mean, this is fulfilling very, very much.
But it's great because they're obviously coming to you because they want to learn about your approach to the double bass, and what are some of the themes that are coming up that you're working on with the students? Are they kind of, are you talking a lot about more free improvisation, or are you kind of going through the building blocks of jazz? Or
totally depends on the student. Actually, I'm a big fan of basics. Because if I'm giving too much of my approach, like my musical approach, there's the danger that they could sound similar in a way, which there was this great professor, Dieter Manderscheid in Cologne, and he had amazing students. Oh, another big influence besides of Mark Dress is Robert Landfermann.
Oh yes, I do know.
One of my biggest heroes. Love you. And like all the students of Dieter sound so different, and this is something that I'm aiming for, just to sense the person in its holistic, personality, to bring that out, what they want to do, and
It's an exciting thing. It's a real privilege as well. Do you think maybe we could, I'm kind of sort of reaching the end of the discussion really, but I was thinking maybe you could play something else for us, just because I got so much from you playing before, and I don't want to kind of put you on the spot, but I don't know, maybe the room's telling you to play something, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play something.
What a joy! What was the piece? Where did you go?
I was searching.
Yeah. Did you end up? Was there a particular theme that you ended at?
Yeah, that's a song that I sometimes play. It's a song by me. It's called "Bring Me Home."
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's for a friend of mine, Werner Neumann, a guitar player, professor in Leipzig for guitar, who I'm really. I was playing a lot with him, and we also have a small duo called Crooner, like Robert and Werner. Yeah, and I wrote it for him.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
10 years ago or something. Yeah.
It was really incredible to. I mean, the way that you move around the instrument as well. I feel like there's such freedom. It's almost like the way that you're using different voices and the way that there's so much happening. I'm thinking about the way that you're articulating a lot of the notes. But there's this real clarity. But there's a lot of kind of moving between pitches, not articulating every note. A lot of kind of jumping bigger intervals. It seems. Yeah, it's really a cool thing to listen to.
Thank
really,
you.
it doesn't. You don't sound like anyone else, which is,
I think I have a lot of influences by all of those people and even more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is not coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, sure.
So it's a big legacy that I'm standing on with this music, with Afro-American tradition, the appreciation on that, and so. But thank you so much. Still,
it's amazing. I mean, you mentioned Dave Holland earlier when we were chatting off camera, and you mentioned Wilbur Ware. You know, we're all standing on the shoulders of these giants, aren't you? So, well, but I'm just blown away. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you, hear you play, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do with my instrument at the concert this evening. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
you, the whole team. So warm and welcoming. And thank you for the bass. And I'm a big fan of the channel. Please click this.
Click loads of links.
Yeah.
Thank you, Albert. That's awesome. Thank you, my man.
Thank you so much.